Hey guys, good evening from South Bend. Tonight's video, I just wanted to talk with you in regards to how do you perform at your highest level when you're trying to work a full-time job and you're trying to balance, all the other responsibilities in life. Maybe you're going to school, maybe you have children. Um, you know, it's not easy, but you got to understand, and you already know that the majority of the world, that at least that are in our sport, are working full-time jobs. They don't have the luxury of being able to train full-time without any other distractions. It's odd because, I had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to train full-time uh, with the World Class Athlete program back in 2007. And, I ran my fastest marathon when I was actually out of soldier athlete status and I was working full-time. The thing that kept me going, despite setbacks in preparation, was just, the thought of achieving what I was dreaming about doing. The bottom line up front is you have to rely on what is your why, what is driving you on a daily basis to make that next big step in your training and in your racing. Goals aren't going to just fall in our lap. It's not something that, if you're going over after an easy goal, it's not really going to challenge you. It's not really going to push you to the limits. It's that commitment and that drive and that focus that you've got to have to make it to the next level, regardless of what is going on in your life. Dr. Joe Vigil, one of the best distance running coaches in the world, a mentor of mine and a world-renowned exercise physiologist, you couldn't be around him and the athletes and coaches I've been around and complain because you'll get a violin. They don't want to hear it. You got to compartmentalize your day to get as much done, regardless what you have to regardless how many things that are on your plate. You can get it done. It's just a matter of your commitment, your drive, and your focus. If you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get a run in, get a workout in, then you have to do it. I mean, again, tough goals are there for a reason. I had numerous times in my life where I had to get up at 4 o'clock. I had to get a workout in. I remember when I was assigned to the Fort Campbell with the 101st Airborne Division back in 2011. I was preparing for the Indianapolis Marathon, Monumental Indianapolis Marathon, and we were out in the field for a full week. And my bosses and the soldiers I was around, they didn't care I was training for a marathon. I mean, for one, it was a personal goal. It was something that I was going for, and I had to make the commitment regardless of those circumstances. I had to make the commitment to get out there and still train in the middle of a week's field training exercise. I remember getting up. I had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I had a 5 a.m. tent duty. And I had an 18-mile run I had to get done. And I remember getting up 2 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was asleep in their tent. It was cold, and all I could see on the base was the black tarmac, and the stars in the sky. And I'm out there doing an 18-mile run preparing for the Indianapolis Marathon. And I guess my commander caught wind of it, and somebody had told him that, hey, Lieutenant Pennington went out and ran this morning, and he caught up to me. He said, hey, Nate, he's like, why didn't you take a battle buddy with you? And my reaction to him was, I'm like, sir, who was going to get up at 2 o'clock and run 18 miles with me? And not at the pace I was running. So, bottom line is, you have to commit to what you're doing. It's not going to be easy because we don't have the luxuries of, a lot of other athletes. Sometimes, in most often cases, you're always going to perform your best because you had those challenges. You had to get up and prepare and to get that workout in before work, and you had to run again after work, or during lunch. You usually run even better when you're challenged. It's those times where you have everything catered to you that you don't perform at your best. And I've had that one opportunity in my life when I tried that, and I did get a couple PRs. I did run a 107 half, and I did run a 50-54 10 mile but I didn't run my fastest marathon time until I was actually working full time. So, I just want to encourage you that, I respect what you're doing. I know it's difficult, working a full-time job, trying to balance, going to school and taking care of your family. It's not a, it's a commitment, and sometimes it's a selfish commitment, because you're going after something you really want to do. But if you're fortunate enough, like I've been, and you have people around you that love you and support what you're doing, then you're really you have a greater sense of a greater opportunity for success rather than failure. And don't expect it to be easy. I already know you don't, but just from speaking to you from my own background and expertise, that I can assure you it can be done. You can run at your highest levels. You can set new personal bests. You can take your racing and your training to the next level, but you have to commit, and you have to stay consistent and persistent in your training, because successful athletes, successful people in any sector, regardless if it's business or it's fitness or in any area, the people that are successful are going to continue to persist until they get what they want. Okay, and I can just tell you that if it wasn't for that drive and that commitment and that focus on my why, which was to push myself to the highest level that I could possibly go, I wouldn't have continued to get out the door and train. There's always something that's driving us, and that's going to make us commit and get out the door when we don't want to. Whether that's our family, whether that's a particular goal you have, a specific time you want to run, you want to lose weight, you want to get a promotion, you want to start making more income. There's numerous things that you can do, and you got to think outside the box. There's usually, when you're trying to do something extraordinary, there's extraordinary thoughts you have to think, actions you have to take. It's not going to be easy, and you have to think outside the box. If you look around and what the masses are doing, do the opposite. Start, instead of spending 5 to 6 hours of television that the average American is watching each day, why don't you spend 2 to 3 hours reading something positive rather than watching the news? It's just little things. It's little things that you can do that can take your mind away from all the negativity that's out there. The garbage that's being spread on the news and people are listening to. We're always in control of our thoughts and our actions. We're always in control. What someone says about you has zero control over you. It's when you start listening to the negativity and you start worrying about what other people think, that's when you start to get in trouble. So how to perform at your very highest level when you're working a full-time job and you have other responsibilities, that's when you have to really focus in. You really have to commit to what you're doing, and know that you're going to be successful regardless of what you have to deal with. Again, I had phenomenal opportunities to compete in our sport, and I never took what I had for granted whatsoever. I mean,